Hello, everybody. It's me, Colton Johnson, with Empty Popcorn Bucket Productions. And one second, let me grab something real fast, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I went and saw The Mandalorian and Grogu. I even got this fancy little cup. I like to get these from time to time. It's been a minute since I've gotten one. I think the last one I got was, I believe, Superman. But yeah, end up securing this. You got Mandalorian, Grogu. Well, yeah. So, going into this, I was pretty nervous overall. The marketing for this movie hasn't been the greatest, in my opinion. Honestly, a lot of recent Disney movies that aren't Marvel related, the marketing just hasn't really been that great. Like, we're getting that Moana live action, and yes, people are gonna buy tickets to that, and it's gonna probably make $1 billion. But there's been little to no marketing for that. I've seen maybe a trailer and a teaser trailer, and that's it. So I don't know what it is with Disney's marketing team, but they are not doing their efforts to make people go see these movies. Yes, the Star Wars brand has a lot of recognition, but has been tarnished over the last several years, and we haven't gotten a Star Wars movie since Rise of Skywalker, which I mean is valid, but Star Wars has really been on the scale of television level iconography for the last 7 to 8 years. And so moving into this movie, you're getting a character introduced on a streaming service now hitting the big screen. So what did it do? Well, let's talk about it. I very much enjoyed it. I'm actually a huge fan of the Mandalorian series and most of the series that Star Wars has released on Disney Plus. I am a Star Wars fan, but I wouldn't say I'm the typical hate everything Star Wars fan that most Star Wars fans are. I feel like there's such a hypercritical nature and expectation with a lot of Star Wars fans that if it's not this, then it's not Star Wars. But I feel like, why? Why is that the mindset? But The Mandalorian and Grogu was your fun adventure film that you see the Mandalorian and Grogu, as obvious, go on this fun adventure. We get introduced or reintroduced to some characters that we may have known before. Like, we get Zeb from Star Wars Rebels, which he did appear in season 3 of The Mandalorian, but it was fun to see his inclusion in the film. We also get the reintroduction of Rada the Hutt, which he was in the Star Wars Clone Wars. So it was cool to see him grown up. I'll get more into that in a second. But ragtag group of characters going on an adventure. It's a lot of fun. It definitely feels like Star Wars. But let me kind of break it up into how I like to look at my movies. So we got the story. Honestly, I think the story might be the weakest part of the film. I think it was a fun story. I think they played it way too safe. But my issue with the story is the pacing. We get this from the first half to the second half. It felt like, it was kind of maybe the mindset of it came from television going into the big screen, that it almost felt very episodic and broken into two larger stories put into one. I personally felt that way. I'm not saying that's a big negative, but I can see where the pacing issues lie. We have this whole story played out, and then it just ends, but then it builds up, and then it's something else. And so we have like this villain there. You're like, okay, this is gonna probably be the villain of the movie, but then that gets wrapped up, and then it jumps into the next part where you're like, okay, this is also the villains here. It can kind of be confusing, but I think the execution of the story is pretty decent. I think there's a lot of fun moments, especially with Grogu. I think Grogu, honestly, was probably one of the standout parts of the story. and how his story played out in the film was very satisfying. And then I'll talk about the performances and the characters. Obviously, Pedro Pascal, he is the Mandalorian. He is awesome. He does a really good job performing under the... I mean, he's probably not the one under the suit, but his voice acting in the suit is really good. Like mentioned, Grogu was spectacular. I love the puppetry they used for that character. He just has like an innocent feel, but you see him with a lot of growth in this film. They give him something to do. They have a purpose for him, and he actually serves the plot pretty well. But my favorite character in the film, honestly, was Rod of the Hutt, portrayed in this film by Jeremy Allen White, who most famously is in The Bear, great television show. But he does awesome, and he's just such a likable character, and you can just root for him, and he's just great. I loved him. He kind of like gave off like the fun uncle vibes, which was a lot of fun. From there, we have a few side characters, like we have Zeb, we have Sigourney Weaver's character. But the main standouts were pretty well done. And Imbo, I feel like I'm not too familiar with that character. Did as good as Imbo, I guess, can. The twins were cool. The villain was kind of lackluster. Like the first villain was kind of lackluster. But yeah. My next big thing about this film that I really enjoyed was the visual effects. Obviously, it's Star Wars. They're going to put in that Star Wars vibe. And I'm sure they used the volume like they did with the television series. And I think it's done pretty well. There's some really cool model shots and like practical effects in this film that were pretty cool that I really liked. Obviously, Grogu is a practical effect. But I think overall the visuals in this film were incredible. And I really like the practicality of some of the characters that they use in this film. It was really well done. And then the next point I'd like to bring up is... the music. I love the score. I thought the sound design in this film was really good. It was the same composer who did the series. He does an awesome job. His music is beautiful. And it's crazy that this is like one of the first, I think the first Star Wars movie to not feature the iconic Star Wars main theme. It didn't need to. It was its own standalone adventure. But I like that it did that. It was the Mandalorian and Grogu's movie, not directly tied into the rest of Star Wars. Do I feel like they could have included the Force theme a little bit? Yes, I do. But that's just a small little gripe. Do I think this movie is going to last and build my love for? I don't know. I definitely need to go see it again just to kind of see where my opinions lie. But overall, I had a good time. I might be very biased in that opinion just because I like The Mandalorian. I think it's a very well done show. The third season's not as good as the first two, but it's still fun. But I feel like this movie does capture the charm and the wonder the first two seasons had. I think the characters are awesome. It's also really cool to see Grogu, especially at his best. He does a lot in this movie that he just like carries the movie on his back. They did a lot of things that I wasn't directly expecting, and I thought that was really cool. And it was also just very fresh going into it. There's a lot of movies nowadays, like Marvel movies, that I feel like I already know what I'm getting myself into. Whereas for Star Wars, it is this whole universe that they can add to. With Marvel, there's these characters we already know, but with Star Wars, you can tell these new stories, and it's something that feels pretty fresh overall. So, my overall ranking with my rubric that I've come up with, I'm going to give this movie a 8 out of 10. Or, in other words, a 4 out of 5. That may sound generous, but I do very much enjoy this movie. I think it was a pretty good movie. Critiques aside, it was so much fun to watch. And I'm not, when I say so much fun, it's not, I wouldn't say it's garbage. Like, there's nothing wrong with a movie being a good time. Though it does have its pacing issues and things like that, I still was captured. I still had a smile on my face, and I still feel like it's Star Wars. But let me know in the comments below what you thought of this movie, or if you're planning on it. I enjoyed it, and go check out my other videos, and more videos coming soon. It's summer, so a lot of movies are coming out. I mainly do reactions to a lot of the movies I see. I'm trying to stick to maybe 1 or 2 full movie reviews. But if a movie truly strikes my interest and I'm like, I need to sit on a camera and talk about it, I will. I really kind of want to go back and do Obsession. That movie was brilliant, and I haven't done a full review on it, but that movie was incredible. I did do like a short or a TikTok video on that, so if you want to go check that out, feel free. But please let me know what your thoughts on the movie. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. And have a wonderful day. May the Force be with you. Bye.
Show me the red wire. The red one. Yes, good. And put the blue one where the red one was. But be careful. They're up. No, hold them apart.